What do you want to talk about?
There you have it.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Saturday night. I am so happy to be here.
Is yours on? It seems
Is
awfully
it
low.
not?
Well, it seems low.
Oh, hold on.
One.
It's because it's not on.
That would cause it to seem low.
That's right. Good evening. Happy Saturday, everybody. Let me try that all over again. How was your week? That's what I want to know. Did you believe? It just seems like we were sitting in these chairs 2 days ago. This week went by so fast.
It actually was 2 days ago.
No, it really is going by fast, though. It's insane. We're getting so close to Ryan and Kyle getting here on Wednesday. And then I go back to Pennsylvania with Ryan and Kyle because I'll be doing my show in Anvil on the 26th. And if you have not checked into that, please go to catherinehickland.com and check out the tickets and where it is, because nothing would make me happier than you coming and spending some time with us. We'd have so much fun. So what did you do this week? We have been both super busy. Did you have a good week?
I had a good week. In fact, I have a short story to tell about this. There was a People magazine story that came out.
When? I
don't know. What are the stats on that? Okay, so approximately 10 days ago, this story comes out. I have the article actually in front of me here. And it was a People magazine story where Gene Kelly's widow, here, I'll put this up on the close-up camera. Oh, it's hard to see.
Yeah, you can't
Okay, I'll read it to you. It says Gene Kelly's...
This must have just happened because you have it up there.
Well, I just noticed it. I mean, someone just sent it. Gene Kelly's widow debunks a popular myth about his time with Debbie Reynolds and a magical Singing in the Rain scene. Now, to put things in perspective, Gene Kelly's widow didn't get married to Gene until 1990, 40 years after Singing in the Rain.
Right. MGM was no longer even there anymore.
Right. So, well, it was the buildings were there. But
yeah.
And the idea that People magazine would write a story and use a word like debunk without cross-checking their facts pisses me off, because I think it's shoddy journalism at the highest order, and it's why the media is in the toilet these days. So, as you all know the story, we've told the story about Debbie talking about her feet bleeding. It's in her book, and how tough it was, and how she was at a piano crying, and Fred Astaire came and took her to his rehearsal studio. And the moral of the story has nothing to do with how tough Gene Kelly or he caused her feet to bleed or something. It was just hard work, and she wasn't used to it. And Gene and Fred Astaire said, "This is it, Debbie. It is hard work." In fact, did we mark that? I think we did, right? Yeah, so I'll read this to you because when you're writing a story like this, you would go to the facts, to the people that actually were there, not some woman who was never there and everything she says is third party. So anyway,
Well, gosh, I'm glad I asked how your week went.
well, no, my week went good because it was the NAB convention. We had a great
Yeah.
time. But she says, I've never worked so hard. I was dancing for 8 hours a day, making Sing in the Rain, and childbirth were the two hardest things I've ever done. The movie was actually harder, she says, because it hurt me everywhere, most of all my brain and my feet. My father had raised me never to start a job unless I planned on finishing it. You know that story. And it was determined to do at my damnedest. The word quit was not in our vocabulary. Now the word can't was trained for me. Still, Daddy never had been in a musical film. No kidding. One day, I crumpled up in a heap under a rehearsal piano crying. Fred Astaire came to my rescue, asked me why I was crying, told him the dancing was so hard, I thought I was going to die. He says, quote, now this is first person, not hearsay. You're not going to die, he said. That's what it's like to learn to dance. And if you're not sweating, you're not doing it right. He took me to his studio where he was rehearsing with Hermes Pan, another great MGM choreographer. I watched in awe as Fred worked on his routines to the point of frustration and anger. I realized that if it was hard for Fred Astaire, dancing was hard for everyone. No one ever made it look easier. His kind gesture helped me a great deal. So she's not blaming Gene Kelly for causing her feet to bleed, other than the fact that it's just hard work to do what he wanted to do. And if you watch those dance numbers of Good Morning, you'll see how difficult that dance number is. But when you watch the movie, you think, geez, it looks so easy, because they make it look easy because of all the hard work that went into it. But this lady claims she's debunking the story and that Gene would have never done anything to make Debbie's feet bleed or anything like that. And it's just so out of context and silly. And she wants to put rumors to rest about the film. Again, a lady that was never there, knows nothing about it. I personally listened to this whole story in detail many times, both with Fred Astaire and my mother, and with Gene Kelly and my mother, where the story was told to me. The only thing Gene Kelly was derogatory about as it related to my mother was initially in Louis B. Mayer's office, he did not want her in the movie. You know, he wanted a more experienced dancer for this exact reason, that she, had never experienced anything like this. So in some way he was right, but in the long run he was not. But even he folded later and they became great friends. The moral of the story, though, is that they were always, even after this, during the movie and later, they were great friends. But I've also told a story about the kiss where he French kissed her and she recoiled back and ran off the set. That's a true story, and my mother had never been kissed like that. No one ever put a tongue in her mouth, and
Well,
she was horrified.
And she was young, and so, but you know what? I just think all of these stories, when someone's, I think that it's inspiring because, she had never done a dancing role. She wasn't really a dancer per se. She was an athlete, your mom in school. Athletes tend to be good dancers, and you can see that on Dancing with the Stars when they get like these football players, and they pick it up so fast, and they're great because they're used to learning plays, like on the field. So, I mean, I just think, I always looked at that story like, wow, all the odds are against somebody, and she still got the role and is famous for that role. And I just think it's a better story.
Well, it is a better story. And why debunk a story that comes actually from the people that were there with people that were not there?
People are wondering why you're in the dark.
In the dark. Well, you see, Roy relit the set, and my key light is very bright.
Yeah.
But this light right here is not. So either this light has to be turned down.
Am I in the dark?
No, look at you. You look
so
good
to
up there.
speak, do I? Okay, good.
You'll just have to, I'm just going to have to deal with it for now. Anyway, the moral of the story is I resent the notion that People magazine would write a story using words like debunk Debbie Reynolds' version of the story when none of these people were ever even, possibly even alive. But in the case of Mrs. Kelly, the third Mrs. Kelly, she was certainly not there. And any story that she has is way down the road. And I don't think she can debunk anything. she certainly got a chance to talk to Gene Kelly, as I did, as my mother did. But nobody lived it except my mother, and that's why I go to her book. But I also go to a lifetime of listening to these stories directly from these people, unlike her. I sat with Gene and my mother and listened to them laugh about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So don't you think Gene would have said, Debbie, you're full of shit, or whatever would have come up at that time? It never happened. So I don't really want to hear from her about any of this. She's a very eccentric lady at this point, and I don't think she has any business debunking anything, unless it's about how she didn't pay for her costumes at the Profiles auction. Other than that, do you remember that?
Refresh my wait.
So the cool thing
Yeah,
about
no, I need to
the
have
good news about
refreshing
so
here.
at the Profiles auction, the first auction,
Yeah.
she bought a bunch of Gene's stuff.
Oh, I remember this.
And
yes.
then she told Joe
Oh, yeah,
Magdalena
yeah.
that she didn't have to pay for it because she was the widow of Gene Kelly.
Right,
And
right.
they end up going to court over it, and she loses. The good news is, because of that, I ended up with all those costumes back.
Which costumes?
Those
were
are the Gene and Donald Good Morning outfits.
Good morning. Oh, I love having those.
So I thank her for that bit of stupid behavior, because in the end, I didn't want to sell those. My mother did.
You know what's interesting? The Good Morning costumes have a story all their own, because I remember, I don't know if we've told this story before, but when this is the first auction. So we were sitting in our seats, and the Good Morning costumes came up, and your mom's sold from the Good Morning number. And after the break, the guy that bought it, Mark Selland, he came over and introduced himself to us and to Debbie. And I was sitting next to her.
I knew him.
You did?
I did know. I'd known him for a while.
Oh, well, I had never met him
Right,
before.
exactly.
And he came over and he said, hey, I'm Mark, he said to your mom, and I just bought your dress from the Good Morning number. And she said, oh, congratulations. And he said, and I would like to give it back to you.
Yes.
And he gave her back this dress that
Which is why we have
he
that
had paid
dress.
thousands and thousands,
tens of thousands.
yeah, of dollars for, and he gave it to her because he thought she should have it.
And you know what happened after that is, she felt bad about it, and but she said, find something. So we gave him a bunch of other things that made him happy,
Right.
Which he didn't expect. He really truly did this as a selfless act.
Right, and now he's a good friend and
He's a
has
very
been
good
for
friend.
years.
Well, and
But,
wouldn't that be a pretty damn good calling card for behavior in terms of friendship?
Well, yeah, but what I love is that you also always want to, and your mom probably put this in you just listening to this story, is, you like to balance things out. When people do nice things for us, we always try to, do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you call it the checks and balances, because good relationships always have to have balance. And but then let's go to the next. So Gene Kelly's widow bought Gene's outfit, bid and won Gene's outfit from the Good Morning number, but she refused to pay for it.
Right.
So that came back to us too. So we now have
The whole set.
the whole set
So
of all three
thanks
costumes.
to that behavior, which is weird
Yeah.
behavior, you have to admit, when you bid on. when
But
you
it was
get
meant to be ours.
Well, that's the point. Is
Yeah.
I don't argue with it. In fact, I thank her for that bit of behavior, although it's not great behavior, because when you go to auctions and you buy something, it actually says when you bid, you agree to pay for this, come hell or high water.
Right.
So, but I do thank her for that. Now, these are interesting little stories, but the show is actually not about this.
No.
The show is
No,
what-
this is
so
this is our
a
chit chat.
prelude, the
Yeah.
prelude
Right.
to the show.
And
But-
before we get to the show, I have a couple of things that.
But what is the show about, just so people know what's coming?
Well,
I hear a train a coming.
You go-
It's coming around the bend.
You go ahead, tell them.
Oh, we're doing Siblings
Yes,
Day.
it was National Siblings
Yesterday.
Week.
Oh, the whole week?
No, the day, but
We decided
was,
to extend
Was
it.
it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
I believe it was Thursday.
I think it
Oh.
was Thursday as well.
Well, we decided to extend it because we can.
Because we don't get on camera till Saturday, so we had to.
So we are
extend.
doing a show about Carrie and I and siblings.
Yeah,
And we have a lot of cool stuff that relates to this
good
subject.
video today.
Good video, good
Good
clips.
show and tell. Good
Yep.
everything.
Good everything. We even have some artifacts that have never been seen before, as usual. And I'm ready to rock and roll whenever you guys
Okay,
are.
well, we have just a few things we want to do. And,
Well,
one, I just want to say to everybody that bought the donate a ticket. Remember last week we had Joe come on, and he was talking about how
I'm
his
going to turn my
grandson
light down a little bit.
okay benefited from the Four Diamonds, which is what is the charity that we're doing our show on the 26th. Kyle, me, and Ryan will be putting on this awesome show for you. Those of you that are going to be attending, that's in Annville, Pennsylvania on April 26th. And it's to benefit the Four Diamonds, which is just an incredible organization. Ryan, are you there? I was just.
I am.
Oh, did you want to show anything before I, talk about this and tell people about the wheel and all that sort of thing? Do we?
Well, you have Seth standing by right here on camera.
How about
too.
if I I'll pull up the website.
Okay, great. So we are
You have him standing by.
right. So well,
God bless you. This lighting is Roy Wagner, ladies and gentlemen, miracle worker.
isn't it
Can
great?
turn a 300-pound lesbian into this.
Jeez. How do we get to that?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I call myself when I look not the best. Anyway, Ryan is going to show your website, though. I believe. It's
Yeah,
on
he
it's on
is.
his
And
screen.
so what we're doing is that a lot of people can't come, but they asked how they could donate to the charity, and we thought it would be a great thing if you wanted to donate. You can donate. The tickets are only $10 for students and $15 for adults. You're looking at, this is CatherineHickland.com, my website. We'll pin it so you can go see where to go. And if you want to attend, then you can buy a ticket to attend. And if you want to just donate a ticket, you can see there's donate a hypnosis show ticket there. And what we're going to do with those tickets, first it's win-win because you get to help with the kids and the Four Diamonds, which we really appreciate.
District.
And the second thing is that we're going to be able to give those tickets away to people that can't afford to go or really want to go. So it's doing a good thing and doing a good thing again at the same time. So if you want to do this, we do have a wheel tonight. We're going to spin it twice, and so we have 3 wheels tonight. And the third wheel I'm talking about right now are the people that donated last week. For every time you donated a ticket, then you got your name put on that many times on the wheel. And tonight, anyone who donates tonight,
How's that,
your
by the
name
way?
will
Is that
be,
better?
yes, way better. Your name will be added to that wheel, and we have a super prize. I'm really excited. We're going to do 2 tonight from the donation wheel, so I'm very happy. So we have our regular wheels, and then we added the donate a ticket wheel. So thank you so much
But
to
the
all of you
super
who
wheel
donated.
prize, is that the one that I picked earlier?
That is our main Super Wheel prize, like for.
But that's the big item. What would you say what it is?
Oh, so the big item, well, that is a Carrie Fisher. It's Carrie when she was, what would you say, 6 or 7 years old?
No, she was just before Star Wars.
Oh, no, that's for the sale tonight. That's a different item.
So what is this one? What was the date of that check?
The date of that check was well, when you have
Just
proof.
happened to have it standing
When you
by.
happen to have it in your magical Mary Poppins had a suitcase. I have a lawyer box.
Seth, you're lit like a
Legal box.
movie star tonight.
Well, that's Roy Wagner for you.
Oh, I know.
So it is from September 6th, right before my birthday, 1977.
Is that a
That is
check?
Star Wars.
A little older than I.
That is Star Wars.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
a
when
check.
So
Star
what?
Wars
What?
ca-
Now, what are we doing with that check?
Well, then let's go into this tonight because since tonight's about siblings, we are doing some special sales on the DebbieReynoldsStudioStore.com for you guys. Normally, these items are selling for a retail price, but we brought them down for you tonight, and we actually found some really cool items. And I think Ryan's going to pull that up on the store, but while he does that, I'll show it to you from right here. So the first set that we have on the studio store, there are going to be 4 of these available. Now, these are really, really rare that we put together. These are, this is, I should say, rather, our postcards from the Edge set. So this is an original hardback first edition copy of Postcards from the Edge from Carrie's personal collection at her house. with these limited edition My Girls postcards that are just beautiful that Todd created for all of you. So, and of course, Todd can sign this anywhere you like. So we only have 4 sets of these. They're very limited, and they are on the DebbieReynoldsStudioStore.com right now for $85, which is a special that's going right now. And then we also have, on the topic of siblings, Todd's best-selling book, original hardback cover editions, My Girls, going for $85 on the Studio Store. And I'm sorry, I misquoted. The postcards from the Edge are going for $79 on the Studio Store. These are $85 on the Studio Store, and Todd will sign them for you on the air. Reverse. I'm so glad Ryan's here.
He's got it up on the. He's got it up.
He puts me in reverse. I love it. Oh, my Spanx
It's
are
right
showing.
there.
Perfect timing. There we go. So I'll just talk over that then. So yes, so you could get My Girls for only $75 today, an original hardback copy. Todd will sign it to you.
Where
on
did
air.
you find
the problem
those?
with this whole thing is that I need to reprint these books, and we just haven't done it. And we these are first editions; they're just getting.
Where
hard.
did you find hardbacks?
Well, we had some stashed away. And he pulled them out for this occasion. That was the point.
Oh wow!
You know, so that's the.
And are these for sale on the Studio Store during the show? Oh, that's awesome.
So these
that
are
book
for
that I love the hardcover book. I miss the hardcover book.
Well, honestly.
I love a good hardcover book.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
part
like
of the
to hold
joy
a
of
book
having
in
the
my
book.
hands.
Yeah.
I do read on Kindle once in a while just for when I'm on the road, but I love to hold a book.
Well, that's what's really cool about both of these items. They're both original hardback first editions. Carrie's personal from her collection with the postcard set, and
Yep.
the My Girls hardcover book that Todd can sign to you. And then also as a special deal, since we're talking about Carrie tonight, we have this 1977 check with Carrie's signature on it from literally the year Star Wars was released, and that'll come with a little Princess Leia action figure from her personal collection as well. So you'll get that.
Where's that?
That's all on the homepage of the Debbie Reynolds Studio Store.
Well, what is it that we're giving away for the Super Wheel?
We don't
tonight?
tell until we get
Oh.
We
there.
don't tell until
That's a
we
secret.
get there.
That's
It's
it's classified.
All right,
If
well,
I
I
tell
didn't
you,
know.
I have to kill you.
I didn't know that was a secret.
Yes. So
The Mob Museum told us we cannot
exactly.
give this information.
All right. So let's go on with the show. Let's do
Well,
it.
where do we want to start? I have the galleys story.
Sure, why don't you start from there, and then I'll go into the clips from there.
Okay, so
Is this
I'll follow your
this is
lead.
Angry Todd night?
no, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. In fact, you didn't hear. I'm not angry at her. She's doing this for her own reasons. But the reality is, I don't like it when, supposedly reputable journalists write stories without fact checking and they don't give proper credit. By the way, what was that girl's name? Does anybody? You had her name, right? The journalist's name.
Oh, the journalist's name.
Yeah, I
Oh,
want to make
thought
sure
you
we
meant
give proper
Miss
credit
Kelly's name.
to who wrote this story, this shoddy
I will
story,
find it
using
on
the
my
word
phone.
debunk.
Right now.
And while you're waiting for that,
Well,
let
we're
me
not
just
waiting.
let me just
I'll
say
just
that
come
we
over.
got to watch the unsinkable Molly Brown upon
Yes,
awakening today.
this morning.
We woke up, turned on the TV, bam, the
I'll
unsinkable
never say no.
Molly
to
Brown was
you,
on, which
right
is
in our face.
my favorite Debbie movie. And I don't know how many times I've seen it, but it
say
doesn't
it.
matter because every time
Well,
I
I don't
see
wanna
it, it's like
interrupt.
seeing it for the first time. And Ryan, I think that should be the first watch-along movie. I really do, because Todd,
I actually watched. It was on live today, right?
right? Mm-hmm.
Because it
But-
came on. I had it on as well.
But Kat had to listen to me do a blow-by-blow
No,
of the whole movie.
through every scene he would tell me what was going on during that time, and I loved it so much. I said, "We need to watch this with our people, with Todd narrating,
But I did
Well-
interrupt
because
the
it was
movie a
so
bit.
interesting."
Speaking of that, we actually are going to kind of announce today that soon, very soon, because Ryan and Kyle are coming here next week, which is very exciting.
This
And
week.
This week. Oh my God, we're already in the next week.
I know. I'm
bunny's
so
almost here.
I cannot wait.
And so we are going to be launching our Patreon channel very soon, where we're going to be having archival material for you guys specifically. And one of those things that we're going to be doing is having Todd watch some of Debbie's films and
with us.
with us and
Yeah.
talking along with them. And you get to watch the film, but also watch Todd talk during
Yeah,
it.
and
one
it's
of-
so
one of the-
interesting to
one of
get the
things that I
backstory.
did is with Molly Brown, I was like 6 years old, and Carrie and I were very much involved on the sets and on location. And I was talking about the cabin, and it was on a set. And then
Yeah.
I was telling you about the mountain next to the cabin where they discover the gold. And it was one of the things I remember the most because the gold mine is all pyrite, which is fool's gold. But when you're 6 years old, I mean, it's good as gold. I mean, they had so much of this fool's gold, and I took home some samples. I don't know where it is. I got to find my samples of Debbie Reynolds' fool's gold from Molly Brown. But I was so impressed with that. If you remember the scene where he throws the pick over his shoulder, and she opens over like, and then the gold is falling down from the mine in their backyard. The richest gold mine in Colorado history, the Little Johnny.
And I got to be, of course, you know, I always talk about my posthumous crush that I have.
On Harv.
Yeah. So I was just in hog heaven. I had Harv Presnell and your mom dancing and singing and making me so happy. And then I had you actually on my right side, you know, narrating what was going on through each scene.
Well,
and
one
I
of
was
the
like,
things that actually came
great.
up today was the fact that the RO crane that we've been talking about, the camera crane that we got from Texas
Yep.
that we've been working on, that crane is the only crane that probably could have shot that dance number. Now, I don't remember seeing it on the set elsewhere, but on the He's My Friend number, the way the camera rushes in to follow them and pulls back out, it's not a zoom move because people are stepping out of the way of the camera as it moves in. And then as it comes back in, they step back in front. So it's obviously a choreographed move with the camera crane, which means the RO crane that we are restoring was also used on Singing in the Rain, many, many films, but including 2 Weeks with Love and including Molly Brown. So pretty active crane. Whenever there was dancing, this was the crane they would use because it was absolutely the best camera crane to follow the action. Anyway, the reason why we digress is because we're going to talk about siblings and Carrie and I and all that. And,
Yeah.
one of the things that came up many years ago was my dad wrote, I believe it was his second book that he wrote when he talked rather disparagingly about Carrie, and he told a couple of stories that were not true. But he said some things that really did irritate me. Like he said in his Been There, Done There book, you know, he said that unlike myself, his mother, and his sister, Todd is a really great guy or something to that effect. And I really resented that because it's just so not true. Even his own self-deprecation is not true because he was actually a pretty cool guy. Doesn't mean he didn't screw up or whatever, but he still was a pretty cool guy. So the whole dialogue is so lame to be putting in a book and putting down your freaking daughter. It really made me mad. But that plus some other stories, one particular one that I've told before is the one where he's living in Carrie's apartment in New York City, and my mother is like trying to get him to leave. Carrie can't get him to leave. So my mom shows up at the doorstep with her checkbook, right? How much is it going to cost to get you out of here, she says. And she literally paid to move and get him out and whatever. Well, in his book, he tells that story, and he gets it almost right. At the very end, he says, had I known that she would have paid me to stay away all these years, I wouldn't have done it for free. Now, I don't know how you feel about that, but man, that made me freaking pin. And I ripped into him for saying that. And when I did, he went into denial, saying that he didn't actually say that, or he didn't remember saying that. And I said, but it's in the book. Yes, but I don't remember, putting that in. And I said, well, you must have proofread the book. And he goes, well, I don't remember proofreading, the book exactly. I don't really recall. So all these years, segue 40 years, I've sort of believed that maybe he never really read the galleys. Now, for those of you who don't know, when you write a book, early on, the galleys come out, and this is your opportunity to proofread the book, and you actually give the galleys to other people that you want perhaps to fact check something or whatever. So this is how it's done. So there will be several copies of the galleys floating around, the writer, yourself, and any principles that you'd want to fact check. Anyway, I never got a set of galleys. Carrie never got a set of galleys, and certainly my mother never got a set of galleys. So I sort of believe maybe he never read the galleys. But weirdly enough, yesterday, I'm at a bookstore, and I was buying a couple of books, a used bookstore. And I'm with Mark Selland, the guy with the Singing in the Rain dress. And he says he's talking to the guy at the counter, and I'm buying a show business book that I wanted. And he says, oh, he says, this is Elizabeth Taylor's son. And I was, Mark, it's my stepmother. And then the guy looks up like, are you guys screwing with us? I said, look, she's my stepmother. I'm Todd Fisher. We start getting in this dialogue with the guy at the bookstore. He says, I have something of your father's that you might be interested in.
And this is just the other day.
This is yesterday
Yesterday, yeah.
I said, really, what is that? He said, well, let me show you. So we go next door to where they do the book sorting. It's not even in the store. It was in another building. And the man pulls out this, a set of galleys.
Okay, I've never seen a galley at a used bookstore or any bookstore.
It's not
ever.
They buy everything.
I know, but
especially signed
that
stuff.
is
They buy first editions.
that
but
they
here's
had
a
that
full
is unreal.
set of the galleys of Eddie's book. Been there, done that. And what makes this even more interesting,
A lot of pages.
close-up camera, please. Drum roll. Close-up camera, please. Close-up camera, please. Signed by Eddie Fisher, the man that never read the galleys. Why did you sign these? Well, I don't know. Now, he signed this obviously to somebody because it says, Love and Stuff, Eddie Fisher. But nonetheless, the denial at this point, let me know when you're on me. Anytime. The denial that he never read the galleys, of which I'm now holding, when you actually signed something when the galleys came out, is starting to get awful thin, that story. So I just thought it was the word serendipity, whatever you want to call it. The idea that I'm wandering around a used bookstore and the guy has a set of the galleys that confirms the story that there were galleys for the book.
Yep.
In which he must have then gotten one, because what are you making the galleys for if you don't give them to the guy this book is about? I mean, the whole story, it would be very embarrassing for him, needless to say, because he had sort of denied that he had ever said or seen these things. I mean, he loved to say things like, my favorite one was the one, and he wrote it in this book, that, that Debbie used to try to, shall we say, poison the children against me or keep the children away from me and all of that. And then, and we all know that's not true. That's why she kept those journals, was to just diffuse a lot of that. Anyway, the reason why I bring this up is this is something that Carrie and I shared, this together. And I never understood why he was hostile in a way to Carrie. It's weird. Now, also, he had an effect on Carrie that is impossible to explain.
Well, okay, but what's really interesting to me is that he did, he had made hostile remarks, no doubt about that. But that she, even
didn't
when
retaliate.
No, she all but begged him to love her, and when we were watching those scenes in bright lights.
Which is what I was about to get into. Now,
I mean,
the story Superman.
Yeah.
Is actually we all have a kryptonite. There's I mean some worse than others, but Carrie's kryptonite was my father.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. I mean, the guy had like Svengali powers over her, Rasputin or whatever you want to call it. Not in a bad way, but he did use those powers to manipulate her. This is how he got in the apartment and she couldn't get him out. And she became almost, childlike around him. It's just like with Superman. It took her power. Like her superpowers were her ability to stand up for herself. Her superpowers were her ability to shred you if you were to come after her.
Her superpowers were being incredibly funny.
Well, besides humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that
she had a lot of superpowers.
Yeah, that she didn't.
So I believe we have a clip, ladies and gentlemen, of...
Let's go to the videotape.
Well, when in doubt, unlike the situation People magazine where there's absolutely zero evidence, we have all of these stories on camera, including the Debbie telling the Gene Kelly story. So, I mean, I just don't need to hear about this nonsense. But in this case, Carrie was doing a talk show at her home, Conversations from the Edge with Carrie Fisher. She interviewed a lot of very interesting people, including my mother. Most people that were on her show were pretty famous people, and she did not require any assistance from moi. But she decided to have Eddie on the show, and she wanted me just to be on the set. So I came in, just to be around because I was the only one that would hold him accountable for some of his behavior. You'll notice in this scene that I'm around with them when he arrives. In fact, it was his birthday, if I'm not mistaken. So we're all hanging out, and I was off camera initially, and Carrie started to lose it on the set, and you're going to see me come on the set. And we did chop this up, but we were talking about the other show. What's the other channel called? The Furion. Patreon, thank you.
Where we're going to be putting our exclusive content.
Right. Well, in this case, we'll put more. Like we can't run you the whole show, but this is like a good hour interview, in addition to other footage. But we're going to give you some snippets of this whole moment, and so this is you're watching Carrie sort of. If you watch any of her other interviews with people, you'll see she's much more, aggressive, and you'll see. Just check her out. Watch for yourself.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy.
Here on television, which is what our family do.
We do.
Speak around. He's wearing the red socks.
Good.
He's wearing the red socks and the yellow shirt and the blue pants and the brown.
Is it really your birthday day?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. How are you?
Eddie Fisher, this is your life. No, actually, it's my yard. On that note, I would like to bring in my partner in crime, Eddie Fisher's only son, Todd.
My only son, Todd.
You don't need to. Please don't stand.
I'm going to do this.
I'll stay over here.
So show Todd what you ate.
Let's see.
Are you hungry?
Maybe it
boy?
looks good. I haven't had lunch yet.
Yummy, yummy. Look, with the thing sticking out, he didn't know that.
But he's been
Can
taking
someone
pills
get
a
a
long time.
close-up of this, please?
Here, I'll take
Oh, that's a
As a
wonderful,
lunch
wonderful
item.
Oh,
I
what
cut
a
away.
Look
wonderful
at
idea.
this.
Get
The
a
sticking
real
out,
close-up.
still thought that was a pill.
But see, aliens eat funny things, and maybe those kids on the street corner will.
That's
Hey,
right.
Todd, hi.
I was paying attention. Do I get some?
See,
credit?
looking alike a little.
A little bit, especially now that my hairline is receding a little.
Oh, no, mine.
More, well,
Mine
I
is
should
more.
hope so. I mean, you've got a little head start on me.
He's related to Carrie. Carrie and Todd.
I am, genetically.
I'm more frightening than he is, but not anymore. This is the kinder, gentler.
She
Carrie.
is.
Yeah.
She's really cool to deal with. I mean, this could be. It's hard, being
Oh,
the
well.
daughter of the father.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. Not
It
many
is. It's
people
easier
are
for me
daughters
because
of
I was
fathers.
still sleeping when he left, but you were awake.
That's right, I
I have
remember.
films.
That's
Yes.
when anyone can refute what I say.
I'm always there to
We
back
did
you
have a
up.
happy childhood. I can prove it. I have films.
That's my mother's favorite line. But the truth is that we do have a lot of happy childhood films, probably more happy ones than sad ones, so it would be hard to refute that.
That was really something. Wow, shock.
Now, did you, when you're watching those films, did that bring back some
Oh,
memories?
God, of course. I mean, at first it didn't. It was blank to me. But then when I saw your face and your body flipped out, and just what I saw was how old is it?
From
it's
3 months up to
47
18.
years ago.
I'm not 47, but the films were taken 47 years ago
That's right.
before I was born.
That's-
Here's what I have to say about a lot of this stuff relating to you and Debbie and the Liz and the blah, blah, blah. You guys were 24 and 22.
Sure.
Have you met a 24 and a 22-year-old? No offense. But they're not brilliant people.
I'm not looking for any.
No, but the thing that
She was giving you an out. Take it, quick.
No, it's not that, but it's like you guys made this giant
Decisions.
thing happen in your life, and decisions and marriage and children and the world watching, and it defines a huge part of your life for your whole life, and you're 22, 24,
25, 27.
whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
Young.
It's really young, really young.
Oh, I know how. I mean, I was 23 when I was dating Marlene Dietrich, who was 53.
Well, now that's okay.
Absolutely.
You were 26.
I'm on trial here.
No, we forgive you for
No,
everything.
no.
No, but I mean, I did schmucky things at that age. I mean,
Oh, I did.
it's not
in
like it's
later
schmucky, it
age,
just
too.
is.
Well.
It was so much in the news that it just, and it's like wearing it like a brand. That's what's
Yeah.
ridiculous about it.
I think that's why we got married.
Well, for whatever reason, that you got married, that you anything, and it just follows you around. The only thing that I have as an equivalent to this is Star Wars. It will never go away. But at least it's not a life decision, but it's just something that won't stop, And at a certain point, you do feel victimized in a way by it. But it's not about that. It's just a defining moment that you can't get away from. And it happens when you're really young.
Would you
Yes.
sing with me? Would you try?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying.
Yes, you sure are.
You look beautiful.
Oh, Daddy.
You do.
Oh, Daddy. All right, shall we? You're the maestro.
Anything you want. I have nothing
Then we
to
have
lose.
to get Trish in here, so she really does this well.
Do we want to have
Or
her
just
sing?
be singing.
I don't. We should do it here.
What?
What key are you going to?
I love you.
Huh?
Major,
Well, we're usually, isn't it?
any
Do her
A
key. Do
flat.
it. Sing in her key.
Well, isn't? If I loved you, time.
It's good. That's a good key for you.
I love
Wow, you sound great.
Can you do it that low?
I don't know.
What are you going to see?
Because it's your key. Great.
Well, someone's gonna get nailed here.
You get mail?
Get nailed.
Well,
and
nail.
And mail.
If I loved you, not too high, time and again, I would try to say,
This is your key.
oh, it's my key. Let's go back to Carrie's key.
I know.
You sound great. If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way. Round in circles, I'd go, longing to tell you, but afraid and shy. I'd let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me. Off you would go in the midst of day. Never, never to know. I loved you, and I do love you.
Aw.
He pulled that. Nice job. Considering it was a little high key for you, too.
Yeah, a little high.
Welcome to our unnatural situation, where in order to see our father, we plan shows around him. This is.
And it works.
It does work, as you can see. We're now booking time with our father on the air. That's odd. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Well, if that didn't get to me, and any girl that has father issues, my God, that was beautiful. First of all, I didn't realize he still had any voice left
I
in
mean,
his
he's
70s.
in his late 70s, right? 76 trombone.
He was 76 years old there?
Yeah.
Well, what year was that?
Well, that.
2004, so after the hotel days.
Yep.
And wow, he sounded really good.
He,
And,
he kept his voice, you
well,
know.
he kind of made a little comeback, because when I was co-hosting Our Magazine with Gary Collins and he was the guest, he was so out of it. And there was nothing left. And that was in the 80s. So he made a rebound with his voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, you
Was he
could,
sober, clean and sober there?
I'd say he was sober during this time, yeah. In fact, he was with Betty at this point.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Well,
so
she
he was
changed
sober
his
during
life,
this
yeah.
time. And And also, he was getting older, and it was harder for him to party the way he used to. But
He looked really good there.
well, what's cool about that, there's a lot more to that, but and we didn't show, obviously. You see the window burns; those are time code window burns. This might be all that survived of these shows. We do have some other shows. We have to try to locate the additional camera reels.
What a cool thing that you guys had the presence of mind to do these kind of tapings, because
Well, I don't
they're
think it
so
really
special.
was. No, it really wasn't. She's joking. I mean, what happened here was Carrie was doing that show, and they wanted the sensationalism of this, meaning the people that were producing the shows, and so they wanted it, to be sensational. They wanted guests to talk about the usual stuff. I mean, it was sort of your early version of TMZ in some ways. I mean, Carrie would talk frankly with her friends, and there you see that's pretty raw stuff there. I mean, when he's singing to her, that's how I love you.
And you could just see by the way that she looked
Shut
at
up.
him.
She just shut right up.
Yeah, and and the camera was on her,
Well,
so
and I'm
you really
sitting
got
there,
to see her.
My job in
her
this whole thing
longing,
was
yeah,
just
for
to sort
that.
of balance it out. She was very insecure about this whole thing. My job was just to sort of bring to diffuse the kryptonite a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he behaved differently around me.
Yeah.
There was a risk with me. I bite back.
Yeah.
So if he'd say something inappropriate, I immediately would make him aware of it. And he would frequently do that, but he actually held himself together here. I don't think I saw anything horribly inappropriate. I haven't watched every second of this thing. But anyway, I just thought that was a fun clip. And what's cool also is you're seeing here, is you're seeing a little bit of Carrie and I, later in life, and how this relationship had endured, so many things, meaning Carrie and my relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of challenges to Carrie's and my relationship as it related particularly to the drug and drug use and things like that. But I kind of had a set rule that I would stand by her no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even though it wasn't, you're not supposed to do some of the things I did, I would stand by her regardless.
I've always been really impressed with that, because it is it's so hard, when you're dealing with somebody that's not. I want to be careful how I say this, because it's.
Well, the thinking isn't linear.
Yeah,
You could say like you could even use the word rational. There is what happens with somebody who has bipolar disorder, especially when it's the dual diagnosis, when you have drugs involved, meaning self-medicating drugs as well. You do get into mood swings, and you get into thinking that's not clear.
Yeah.
So my job, I was almost like her memory bank and also her barometer or compass, as it were.
Yeah.
Moral compass even. And I frequently would step in and say, no, this is reality. This is not reality.
I mean, and you do that at the risk of pissing them off to
Well,
the point where
it worked
they
most
get
of the
mad
time.
at you. But you have to do it anyway, because that's what love is, I think.
Well, we always came back to it.
Yeah.
There were times. Now there were times where I had to correct her, even harsh correction, because it was dangerous behavior, and so but that's what you would do. Even if it meant going down with her, I would have stood there when the ship went down. Anyway.
Oh, I know you would have, definitely.
But that was the risk of that, as you say. Now you have. What's second in line? Are we doing Our Magazine? Or are we going?
Well, I mean, Kat brought it up. You hosted Our Magazine, co-hosted.
Yeah.
And we just so happened to have footage of when you and Carrie did Our Magazine together with your mom.
Well, and I think we've shown a little of this in different contexts, if I'm not mistaken, but we will show you more of it. And actually, the reason why we're showing you this is in context to the theme of the show,
Yeah.
because what you're going to see with this is the clearest example of our relationship on camera. And you'll know, for those of you that know me, you'll know that even she is not putting anything on. You're around people that could put on the Ritz, but everybody's behaving very, almost like we're home. So I find this to be a very unique interview. So with that, let's hit it, Jake.
The book is dedicated to your mother and your brother Todd. And Todd is busy with, he's in the business at the moment, isn't he? Doing.
He does videos, he's a cinematographer, director. And
Doing quite well.
Yes. Well, he's a terrific son.
I want to be like Todd when I grow up.
All right. Well, let's see how like Todd you are right now.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is absurd.
Todd.
You're joking.
Todd, I was supposed to ask you to read a postcard.
Well, I brought it to her anyway.
Have you got it? What does it
Here, you
say?
sit down and read it.
They're all going like this to me. Boo. I can't help it, guys.
I know you're new at this.
I know.
Well, I was going to do the hello, dear.
Yes.
Because in our family, the hello, dear is sort of a tradition at this point. So you really missed out on that. And then I was going to say, this is your brother, and I was watching the videos of our trip to China. We traveled to China together. And I was pondering over the question in this film of who was more like our mother, Carrie, or myself. And we determined that I was like her in the morning after the slaughters of sleep. And Carrie
Poetic.
was more like her in the night after some fast phone talking and other tensions of the day. And I hope that this can be resolved soon, because after reading your book, I'm sure I must be missing something. Or shall I say, you have sort of a je ne sais Kuala Lumpur.
You tell that we're brother and sister?
Yeah, sort of. Let's talk about growing up, and maybe you can bring another perspective to it. Growing up in this wonderful bubble of Beverly Hills, Hollywood, the industry.
Well, I thought it was quite normal for me.
Yeah,
My
you would.
perspective is only one-sided from that point. Yeah. And we had, as far as I was concerned, quite a normal childhood.
We didn't know it was weird until we started watching Father Knows Best.
That's exactly right. I had a problem when I saw Leave It to Beaver, because I never
That's a
liked
whole other
that.
thing, though.
Or later in life.
Were you happy, kids?
Very happy.
Yes.
Very happy. We had
You should have brought the
everything.
films.
Well, you know what? One of the
Oh, no.
One of the things that, I don't know if it's Suzanne in the book or whether it's you that say it in a couple of your interviews.
Suzanne.
But she was feeling very miserable in the book, Suzanne. She was in the clinic recovering, and she called her mother and said she felt just miserable, and her mom says,
You were happy as a child.
yeah, I don't know why you're so unhappy. You were very happy as a child, and I've got the films to prove it. Well, let's watch.
Oh, jeez.
Todd edited this for you.
This is shocking.
Here's to Carrie. This is Carrie, and that's Todd.
See, now look at that.
Look how cute.
Now that's
Now that's
You look
happy.
pretty happy
And
to
dirty,
me.
I do look happy.
My grandmother, who is their great-grandmother, said, why are you raising the children to look like picture postcards? You should put them in mud and let them be normal. Take those shoes off. So here they are.
Right, and I haven't got out of the mud since.
That's Todd.
That's
See?
now whenever I want to feel normal, I roll around in the dirt. See how happy I still have that out. Oh, princess.
Yes, that's
She was
her.
always a princess, you
Oh,
see.
Debbie, what surprises you most about Todd and Carrie?
Oh, I'm not surprised about anything they do, because I'm most delighted, I feel, that the children have grown up. I hate when I call them children. That the young people have
Why?
grown
What do you
up. to be sharing, loving, giving, and the most important thing is that they love each other. They're very best of friends, besides being
That's
a brother
right.
and sister.
She still hits me, though. It started at a young age. you
She
know.
always did. When they were, Todd was maybe 2 months old, Carrie hit him in the head with a baseball bat, and she
That's
came
been
running
my
into...
excuse for years.
Which, front or back?
Plastic bat.
Plastic.
though.
It was a little bat, and she knocked him out, and she said, Mommy, the baby fell over. So then she nursed him back. She said, the baby...
I've been guilty about it ever since.
Yeah.
though. It's the main
Yes.
reason that I'm in therapy.
But we've worked it out since then.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to have you both here. And again, congratulations on the book. It's called Postcards from the Edge, and it's awfully worthwhile reading. You must do that. Now, next up, we are going to be talking about something quite serious. You know, you send a kid off to college, and you hope in 4 years they're coming home with a degree. Some kids don't come back, and we're going to find out why. And find out the answer to this very disturbing question. Will our children be students or victims of violent crimes? Stay with us. We're back with Carrie and Todd and, of course, their mother, Debbie Reynolds. You know, you made an interesting statement, and it was your character again. You can't find any true closeness in Hollywood because everybody does the fake closeness so well. Is that true?
Deb, what do you think?
What do you think, Deb?
You look beautiful, baby. Never change.
Lunch? Let's go.
Lunch tomorrow? Thursday.
Fab. Listen.
Love you.
I love you, babe.
No, but how do you
love your
how do
work.
you get through that? How do you know who's doing it and who's not? Or do we just, I mean, does our antennae go up and...
There's something inside of you that says, eeny, wrong.
It's just that, I don't know how you get through it. I think a lot of therapy and smiling at 50 men and
Now, wait a minute. I didn't have any
dreams.
therapy.
I know, but I've had your
That's
therapy
true.
for
And
you.
I've had yours.
That's right.
I want to know how
And
many...
I paid for all of it.
Yeah.
Leave!
I don't know how many men did you smile at, Debbie, before you found the right one?
Well, recently I have been married 3 years to a wonderful man. You know, before that I had absolutely no taste. So this time he asked me.
You had bad taste.
I know, terrible. Fortunately, I had two wonderful children and poor taste.
We picked him for her. Because,
Did you?
Well, after she messed up the first 2 times, she
Yes,
said...
Oh, this one, I see.
Yeah, the new one.
It has been such a joy to see you all and have you here in the program. Please give our best to Richard, would you please, Debbie? Thank you very much. And again, Carrie, thanks.
Okay, so there you have it. Very interesting body language. You know, the whole. I mean, it's a bit of a study into all of that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, well, I always look at that. I mean, it's just how I'm wired, you know, is that I'm constantly reading people. And it was interesting. You guys were very touchy and, you know, you could see that she looked at you with great admiration. And it's so fun to watch this as compared to like, having been in this family and being around and seeing how everything evolved and devolved and evolved and devolved, because, you know, it gets worse, you know, with age. If the bipolar gets worse, if you're not on top of your medication and on not self-medicate, if you're self-medicating, it's not good. So, you know, I kind of got to see how, you know, she could get mad because you were, you know, always wanting her best, and she wanted to go off and do whatever she wanted to do.
Well,
and so, but then I would see her like a little girl, you know, come back and
Right.
and say, "Are we okay?" Because, you know, she would fly off the handle, and then she would come back because it depended on the mood, you know.
Right, but she used to say it's important. It was almost like a foundational thing for her. It was important that we were okay. It was very,
Yes.
and she said that to me many times. you know.
Actually, one of the last things that she said to you was that
Yes,
at her birthday party, which
Right.
is the last time we saw her.
exactly, and that she. But it had been said many times, and I was also the memory bank for not only the family but more so her, because she trusted my memory bank. She didn't trust my mother's recall of things or the way that my mother's view of things.
Yeah.
But she knew that I was on the same experience plane as her throughout life. And she would frequently say, you know, my brother and I experienced X, or
Yeah.
we grew up in the same shared sense of weirdness, she
Yeah.
used to say. And I never really saw it as weird. You know, like you know, she
Well, you
would,
didn't have anything to compare it to.
well, I did. I saw all of the good TV shows.
Yeah, but we all wished for Leave It to Beaver childhoods, but
I have come
we
to
didn't get them.
I've come to the absolute conclusion that there is no such thing as a normal, you know, environment. There's a lot of different kinds of environments with a lot of different kinds of people, you know, and some are extreme and some are not. I mean, but obviously there's horrible ones, there's great ones. But even I mean, I knew enough people. It's not like I didn't know a lot of people, and I would go to their houses, you know, and I knew they didn't behave the way we behave. By the way, this is Carrie's jacket that she gave me.
She used to love buying you
So here-
clothes.
so you
Oh
see the
my gosh,
inside.
every Christmas, yes, she bought you the coolest stuff.
But I had to wear it on Sibling Day. I had to wear the jacket. So anyway, I feel like that was it's a very good snippet. It's like, this is like 1987 or something. And, you know, so it's you know, it's a good time. It's an interesting time.
Right, and for me to see her,
She's sober here. You know, she'd come
yes,
out of rehab.
definitely.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I'd seen so many incarnations over the years, and how that affected everything, and you know, she still had, there was some innocence to her there. You know, like there.
Oh, it was always there.
Yeah.
It's just that she became, you know, adept at not showing those sides to her. But as you pointed out, even that last time,
Yeah.
it was just the two of us, and we were right back to that. So it always defaulted back to the
I have to say, it's very, when somebody becomes really famous like that, and then the whole world around them changes, and people always say, oh, they changed so much when they got famous. But, the truth is that everything around the person changes, and so you almost can't not change, if that makes sense. It's like and in her case, it was a huge fame. I mean, it was massive fame. And so you're struggling with mental health. You're struggling with people saying how great you are, yes, yes, yes to everything. No one's saying, you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't take that. You can't drink that. You know what I mean? Like, only the family. And so that's hard because...
Well, but not even the family, because she wouldn't take it off of anybody. There wasn't... no one could really confide in her, or she wouldn't confide in anybody.
Right.
That's like that. Remember I talk about that 10-year black hole with my mother during the postcards period. That was a black hole there. This is really sort of the beginning. They're not even out of it here. I mean, this what you just saw on that show they're not out of it.
That
yet.
was before or after the 10-year?
Well, no, that's in the middle of it.
Oh, so they weren't talking to
Not
each other?
exactly.
Interesting.
That was a surprise. What we didn't show you was Debbie arriving like I arrived as a surprise.
Oh, so this was Carrie promoting Postcards from the Edge.
If you watch the whole thing, you'll see that when Debbie comes out, Carrie is a little like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting this. But
so was this the beginning of the end of that 10-year?
We're towards the tail end of it. It
Yeah.
still was. It wasn't like an immediate, oh, well, of course we should be getting along. Why? Let's just change
I just can't.
that.
I can't imagine them not talking for 10 years because they were. By the time I came along, everybody.
Well, I tried everything.
Everybody was calmed down.
I tried everything. I remember saying a couple of times, well, why you tell her? Why do you need me to tell her? No, you have to tell her. Why do you want me to tell her? You tell her. No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
We got to a point. But a lot of this has to do, and I'm sure for those of you that relate to this, there's inside of the mental illness, inside of drug abuse or alcoholism, there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, and those feelings are complicated. And that's partly why she didn't want to face my mother. I think part of it had to do with shame.
Well, as we've discussed many times, shame is the very basis of every addiction. And so, that's not surprising. But such a beautiful thing to see you all interact with each other the way that you do there. And by the way, this kind of stuff, this kind of footage is what we're going to do with the Patreons is,
Have the archives.
Yeah,
but
have the archives
without all the editing. I mean, because you can't, then you could watch it to whatever degree you want.
Yeah, but you can. But it's kind of fun to watch it and have you commentate on it. I like that a lot.
Well, I don't mind talking, as you well know. I don't mind. I mean, if I have, somebody has to do it. What else you got over there?
Well, speaking of, you have another show and tell item right there in the middle.
Which one?
That relates to
This?
Oh, this relates to the next film clip. Yeah, I'd have to put it over here. Hand it to me. It's heavy, both hands.
It has a chip on it, eh?
Oh, there's a good story about that.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can pick that up.
Okay, well, here, I'll move that first.
Okay, hold on. It's heavy.
Here we go.
There you go.
Okay. Ooh.
It's like one of Elizabeth Taylor's diamonds.
Okay, close-up camera, please. All right, so this is the AFI Platinum Circle Award. And it's too hard to read this, but it essentially says, to Todd, Carrie, whatever it says. I'll read it. Hell, what the heck. It says, to Debbie Reynolds and her family, Carrie Fisher and Todd Fisher, and it says September 17th, 1998. So this is the only thing we ever won as a family. Oh, thank you. This is the only thing we ever won as a family. You can sort of see it. But
Needs
it's
a
it's
little
a beautiful award.
polish.
This is pretty funny. Now, you saw what happened. So when Kat picked this thing up, she goes, oh, it was really heavy. So when they handed this thing to my mother, she dropped it and chipped it. And I said, and they said, oh, we'll have it redone. I said, no, we don't work like that. We go with the authentic stuff. So the chip remains, goes with the story. If you see one, someone selling the one that's the platinum circle without the chip, you know it's not real.
Right,
This
exactly.
is the authentic chip from my mom dropping this thing. It is very heavy. It's probably not. It's probably upwards of as heavy as that. Let me have that.
This one? Oh, yeah. No, that's
Just
really
hand it.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
It's the same weight. It's the same.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
So it's very heavy. You know, everybody that picks up one of these always goes, "Oh, they're so heavy." So slide that back over there.
What's
All right.
fun-
So having said that, we have film clips as usual that goes with the stories, right? Don't we have film clips? All right. Well, let's run it. Let's roll it.
Well, since I have no prepared speech, but I do have my mother's original hair color, I'll go first, and besides, she's a tough act to follow at any rate.
As many of you know, I've written a lot of speeches, some of them even including for me. And, you know, it's gone all right. I wrote Carlton's. And maybe it's me, but I've never quite understood what this speech was about. You know, my mother, my brother, AFI, or the film community in general. CAA is the agency. My mother advises me that I should simply say that I'm a writer, and writers don't talk a lot. Anyway, you know, AFI has done a lot of wonderful work preserving film, and they've agreed to preserve me and my mother as we look right now, and even digitally cut 5 or 6 years off my brother. I was going to do a little family history first and tell you how my brother shot himself accidentally in the leg with a blank with my mother's second husband's gun that he used for parades. And my mother and I were arrested and fingerprinted in New York. But this is really about me being a writer and how I don't talk a lot, how Penny and I are going to end up together. Todd and I grew up on film sets, which served as a landscape not only for film but also for our family life, and for Todd's parties. Film is a place where my mother's enormous vitality and talent glows from every frame. I can always see my mother grow up in the movies, which is amazing. I can also see myself young and thin, which is annoying. One of my favorite memories is my mother coming in at night and singing to me. After she came home from the set, she'd come in and make up songs about a little red pony, and she'd scratch my back until I fell asleep. And later, when she started working in Vegas, Rip Taylor would come into the room first and open for her, and then she would do the songs. And I would wake up most mornings covered in confetti. Then later, Paul Simon would sing to me, which was sweet or annoying, depending on the album, but that's another luncheon. Show business, as you can see, has kept our family together and also very, very eccentric. One of the other great things about my mom is she turned both Todd and myself into film buffs. We would curl up around the black and white glow of some large or small square and absorb stories unfolding from any era. And you can call her day or night, I'll give you the number, and the CAA, it's the agency, with any Hollywood trivia queries. I called her the other night with some Jeannie Crane question concerning her private life, and she told me that she had 6 to 9 children. You see, it's clear as a Hollywood bell. My brother thought of a game to play with a tourist that would drive by following the maps of stars' homes. Wouldn't it be better if I didn't talk so much? So if they had a still camera, we would move. And if they had a moving camera, we would hold still, that's right. It was life in the Fisher Bowl, or as I used to say before I was a writer and didn't talk, we had our noses pressed up against the window of the bakery, only we were the bread. Anything that my brother and I have achieved, overcome, or hell, even enjoyed, is because of our mother. Who else? Eddie? My nanny, Dottie Wolf, may she rest in Florida? And my mother reinvented herself through immersing herself and rehearsing herself in singing and dancing and acting. When she is making a movie or on stage, it's like a tonic for her. She forgets she has arthritis or married 3 shits. Or is taking care of half the world, and she becomes at home. She becomes the consummate performer that she is, loving to do what she does best, better than anyone I know. No offense, Penny. And I don't just say that because I'm in the will. Screw the money. My mother, my brother, and I all have grown up in show business, and in its usual uncomplicated way, it's been good to us. Thank you, AFI. You did it, darling.
I only have 2 things to say. I'm here for my mother and my sister. They are the stars of our family. I hope to do anything I can to be the glue to keep this family together. That's been my job.
He was great in the mental hospital with me. Fantastic.
That's right. I've gained invaluable experience in marriages, ex-husbands, rehab places, places I normally wouldn't go. And it's
Me either.
a lot of you think that the honor is, being in the fame and the Hollywood scene, but I've got to go behind the scenes in a lot of those other places, and believe me, it's far more entertaining than the film clips you just saw. But my mother is the finest person I've ever known in my life. I have known a lot of people, and I can say that without a doubt. And she has supported my sister and I through everything, and as Carrie pointed out, every other person as well. But she's been an amazing example to myself, and I hope all of us. And I'm glad everybody's here to support what I think is an incredible foundation to preserve our heritage in the film industry. And without preserving these films, it would be a real crime. And I'm just glad to be part of that and to help them preserve our films. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Carrie.
He's the best husband my mother ever had.
Sure. So the question is, he asked if we should go into my mom, and yeah, I mean, unless you're seeing a question that is appearing.
I just want to say, I mean, how cute and how sweet, and I just love, the way that she was holding on to you and kissing you and loving on you, and it reminded me of all the footage that I've seen of you two as babies, where you were her baby doll brother. You.
Well, but I don't know if you know her well enough to know that in her early speech there, I thought she was going to pass out. She was so nervous.
Yeah, and her voice was like 5 octaves
compressed,
deeper.
like she's like under tension. And that was primarily because that room was filled with
the biggest
peers.
Stars and
Well, I mean, it was like all of her best friends.
Yeah.
It was all my friends, all my mother's friends, and a lot of industry people. And she was, I'm there.
It's daunting.
Right,
yeah.
but I'm not for me. I mean, I didn't care. You could see me. Do I look nervous?
No, but, you weren't.
By the way, you didn't see my speech. Did you see me rip out my speech? When it was my turn, I just ad-lib.
Right, but she had a lot of
She had to cover
say.
and I'm glad she covered that ground, because then I didn't have to.
Right.
I would have had to gone over, I mean, she said some important factual things that cover the ground there.
I like the parting line about you being the best husband
My mother,
your mother ever
that's
had.
not untrue.
I know. I will tell you now, I have never seen anything like what I witnessed in the years I got to spend with them and you, because everything that they would call, our phone would ring at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and you would get out of that bed and drive 3 or 4 hours to Los Angeles to correct whatever they were going through that they needed your help on. You would get up and just go. And I would think,
it's in my DNA.
no, it was. You were the glue, and it was such a beautiful thing to watch. It was a beautiful thing to witness, to see that.
Well, so this is my mom's response to getting the award. Now, is she ad-libbing or is she going to read?
No, she's ad-libbing.
Ad-lib. Okay, well, this will be a wild card then, ladies and gentlemen. Hit it, Jake.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie. Oh, please, thank you. I didn't think you'd be here. I thought by the time I got up here, you'd all be gone. Thank you to the Thalians for being here. Thank you for those of you that lasted and didn't have to go pee. I'm just thrilled for this award, and I love AFI. I love film preservation. I was going to give a speech, but Carlton gave it for me. So I'll just speak really quickly because I know I have to pee. You've been so wonderful to be here. I see so many wonderful old friends. I thought that you were dead. I walked in. My children wear black in mourning of my shit husbands. My daughter. It's the only thing Eddie had was any good was sperm. Oh, my papa. Carrie wrote me a line for the Oscar show, and it was called Oh, My Faux Pas. My daughter's but brilliant. My son is but brilliant. My son is very special with a great heart. My daughter has a great heart. All of you have wonderful hearts to be here. I look around the room and I see so many wonderful faces that have helped me all through my turbulent life. I've had a wonderful personal life. I don't know how I've gotten through it, but I'm still here. You remember that song? Good times and bum times, I've seen them all, but my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes pretzels and beer, but I'm here. I was a kid with dreams and pluck. 1/3 was talent, 2/3 luck. I saw some dreams disappear, but I'm here. Thank you for today. My son and Carrie. Todd Fisher and my darling. I promised Carrie I wouldn't sing.
Sing!
No. It's enough already. Thank you so much for everybody in AFI. God bless you. Keep those films. Save them all. I made a lot of dogs.
Right.
Isn't that something? I love this. I've never let my hair standing straight up.
You know who did my who spoke for me?
Who?
So what happened here? What she's talking about? Everybody's joking about Carlton Carpenter because they let Carlton Carpenter come up and sort of introduce my mother's film clips in her history. So there was a film reel that was put together on each of us, and it was introduced by a person. So Carlton Carpenter introduced my mom. They went into 2 Weeks with Love, and
Is this the same night?
this is what Carrie's joking about Carlton Carpenter. Carlton Carpenter gave my speech for me. He literally wouldn't get off the stage. He was up there half an hour practically, and he was telling stories. He was so happy. But like mine was Stan Freberg. He did me, and so you've seen it. So Stan tells my story to the best of his knowledge, and it's very funny to have Stan Freberg roast you. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And my mother had Carlton, and Penny did Carrie. So that's great. I mean, to me, it was quite an evening or afternoon.
And you have all this footage.
And we have all this footage.
So that's what this sort of thing is exactly what the Patreon is for, is because it's so fun to have access to this, and there's so much of it.
Well, if you've ever come into our archive rooms, you'll see that there are hundreds and hundreds of different shows and tapes and things. Now, some we don't have the quote-unquote rights to, but we probably can still post it and monetize it for somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's conceivable that all of this will be can be made available, I'm assuming, regardless of, because I mean, there are things that I would love to share that I don't have the rights to that I think are fantastic. Like that Bobby Darin thing with my mother is the best thing ever.
They would love that.
It's incredible. The thing, my dad's I can share the one with my dad because I have the rights to all the Coke Time stuff. So that Hollywood Bowl show with
Yes.
Louis Armstrong and him.
Right.
So there are shows. And then we filmed things at the hotel and other things that we produced. Also, we have outtake footage. Like, for example, on These Old Broads, I have all the camera masters. So I have
Wow.
all the outtakes. You know, pretty impressive stuff.
So what do we have to do to get rights to show this?
Well, nothing in certain cases. In other cases, you can put it up and just share the revenue, I'm assuming, with whoever has it. But, you know, but things that we have the rights to that, you know,
Yeah.
you can monetize it accordingly.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know, it's fun to watch all of this stuff. I mean, for me, it's, you know, it's like watching home movies.
Right.
I mean, they are home movies.
Well, that's the first time I've seen this, so it's great. I
Well,
know,
you
I
should-
see why people want to see
You
it.
should watch the roast because Penny is incredible, and Stan does a whole thing on me that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I mean, imagine.
Well, maybe I'll be a Patreon and I can see everything.
Well, we might be able to get you a membership. You know,
That's right.
as much as you've given, I think we can get you a membership.
Hey, I want to say hi to Jordan, the lion, who I saw was in the room, and I don't know if you're still here, but I can't wait to see you. I got your save the date for your wedding, which I think is going to be here. So,
So speaking of weddings, what
Yeah.
are you giving away?
oh, is it giveaway time?
Well, we are
I
done.
think-
We're done with.
Okay, so-
unless there's comments.
No,
Do you,
this is
Do you have
a-
no
Well-
comments? Nobody said a word. Everybody
Oh
just.
no!
Everybody's
Everybody
just sitting
is-
at home.
Well,
studying.
everybody
No, but
is
you know
changing
what?
their depends at home because I think they've wet themselves laughing
Yes.
because of your mom and Carrie and your speeches. But let's see right here. Well, a lot of people are really excited about the Patreon happening. That is a big key one. I had a question, and I'll be darned.
You know
it scrolled
what's
up, so
funny
I'll
is that
find
you
it.
can always tell when people are really loving the videos because it gets really quiet in the room. I'll look down and nothing's moving, and it's because everyone's watching. You know, like that's.
Well, we did have some good stuff. I encourage you guys, if you
Oh.
missed it, to go back and watch.
Someone asked if you stayed in contact with your dad's side of the family after their divorce.
We never stayed in touch with his side of the family even before the divorce or after the divorce. I mean, I could tell you that I only met his mother and father like way back. When Carrie and Paul got married in New York, they came to the wedding because it was in New York. They never came to the West Coast. It's the first time I had seen her as an adult, meaning my grandmother, Eddie's mother. And we did not stay in touch. There are a few cousins that I stayed in touch with, loosely speaking. But no, we are not really in touch with those people. In fact, wildly enough, like I've been buying stuff, you know, as you know, over the years. And stuff that Eddie had given to his family, they auctioned it off. And I had to buy it back at auction. This includes the painting of my mother as the clown with Eddie.
I was wondering where
This
you got that.
includes all like the beautiful oversized print of Harry Truman autographed to my dad. He had given that to like his brother's side of the family, and then when Bunny died, Eddie's brother, they just threw it up for auction. I had to buy it back at an auction. So here's the wildest thing. I don't have any of my dad's gold records. I have no idea where they are. If anybody finds an Eddie Fisher gold record, obviously I have to have that. I have nothing of Eddie's. He lost everything. Now I have his Golden Globe and a few of his awards, but it was all lost to the ages because of his drug abuse and losing things to storage, abandonment issues and things like that, but also giving things away. Drug people get euphoric, and he was bipolar also, probably to a lesser degree than Carrie, but he was bipolar and gave stuff away. I mean, like all the time. So there
Well,
was
you know
nothing.
what's interesting? Your sister did that too.
No, that's why I brought it up.
She would take off, if someone
Right.
liked a beautiful, very valuable ring she was wearing, she would take it off her hand and give it to them.
And my mother would run around later and say, "Now, dear, she did not mean for you to have that. Can I get that back, please?" And people would be like, "Okay, Debbie," because my mother was daunting.
Yeah.
But like, she only retrieved a fraction of what Carrie gave away. It would happen all the time.
Oh, I witnessed it. And,
You're right.
and I remember thinking, ooh, I think she's going to regret that. But
Well,
it-
didn't
no.
Carrie wanted to give George Lucas the ruby slippers?
Right. Well, it actually happened, but my mother changed it into a loan. So it was George's birthday, and Carrie said, "You know, Mom, I want to really give George something great." And so she said, I'd like to give him the ruby slippers. And my mother was like, dear, we're building a museum. They're going to go in the museum. Yeah, but I owe George so much. I'd love to give him and so my mother went to George and said, look, Carrie wants to do this, but I'll give them to you for, I forgot, a year. But no, she did. She wrapped them up and loaned them to him for a period of time. I mean, that's a cool gift too, to borrow the ruby slippers.
Oh yeah.
But Carrie would have given them away. Yeah. I mean, no, but I mean, like, there's also something innocent and endearing about it. I mean, it's like, it is an interesting principle. Give you the shirt off my back. I mean, she really didn't. She rather give things away than maintain possessions. And
Well,
that's
Carrie
kind of a righteous
she
thing.
loved giving things.
She did. She liked
Gift
people's
giving.
reaction.
She at Christmas she would always give us. She delighted in watching us open presents, but she didn't receive gifts easily. You know what I mean? It was more important to her to give things than to get. It seemed to me when
Well, these are very biblical principles from where I come from. It's more blessed to give than receive. Without directly quoting that, she lived a lot of these really righteous principles.
Mm-hmm.
So, I couldn't sit around and always say, hey, don't give that away, because there's always more. She also liked that part of the equation. If I give this away, then I can go buy more. That was one of her favorite philosophies.
Debbie Starr Jackson asked, I give away stuff like that too. Is it a bipolar thing?
No. I mean, you could look at it a lot of different ways. Now, in Carrie's case, it was. It was because later she wouldn't remember even doing it.
Yes.
So that's not good. But a lot of it was done consciously, of sort of easy come, easy go. I have a lot. I am a river to my people. My mother was an example to Carrie and I along those lines. So I think some of this is my mother's fault in that she gave so much away. Now, my mother also maintained law and order about the important things, especially the collections that were important and things like that. So there was an aspect of it that was being regulated differently in my mother's life, and Carrie took it to an extreme. Mm-hmm. But I got to blame it on my mother ultimately, because she's the one that would literally give people the shirt off her back.
We're going to give stuff away in a minute and wrap up.
Speaking of giving shirts off our back.
Well, I have a few questions,
Okay.
if that's okay. Someone, two questions. I'll direct one to Kat, one to you. Someone's asking, Todd, she said, wasn't Carrie also a little bit of a hoarder in a way as well as giving stuff away? In the sense of collecting, not in the sense of hoarding.
Well, so he's basically, typically hoarding would be like my mother, who never sold a costume, who had 3,000 costumes. That's true hoarding for a museum, and you're protecting things for all kinds of reasons. People collect and could be called hoarders. Now, Carrie collected too, but she really didn't hoard anything, because literally she would almost give you anything that was around.
Yeah.
So it's a unique way of behaving. It was unlike my mother's behavior. And like with me, if you were to walk through the house, I might try to find something that I could give somebody, but it's not going to cut into the core collection that would influence the museum someday. Now, in the absence of having a goal to build a museum someday, you could see how this stuff should be spread out. Now, that is what we do on this show in many ways, that we have a lot that won't make it to the museum. And so that is why I am not hoarding that stuff. I could easily sit on this stuff and get buried with it all. You could take all of these papers and books and checks and photographs and postcards and costumes and props and furniture and just dump it in a big hole with me. But the reality is that's why we do what we do. I felt that my mother, I didn't understand why a lot of this stuff is even here. You understand that a lot of what we have is because she decided to keep it. Like those checks of Carrie's. That's not Carrie. That shit was thrown away. My mother kept that, thinking that it would have some importance to tell a story later. My mother would frequently dig through the trash can and preserve Carrie's treasures, but she also did that with her own stuff. And in certain cases, she might have a lot of something, and that was intended to be utilized for fundraisers and things like that. She was always giving things to charity for fundraisers. And I don't know that she would ever anticipate what we're doing right now, which is sitting on television and having these giveaways and stuff for her fans. But I think this is exactly what she would do. And I'm the best judge of this, because regardless of what Gene Kelly's widow says, I knew what my mother's thoughts were, as probably there's no one on earth that knew her better than I. And the same thing would apply to Carrie. I mean, a lot of people knew Carrie well in different ways, but, you know, I mean, we literally grew up together, you know, I mean, waking moments and experiences for decades qualifies for something. Now, there are plenty of people that have siblings or parents and they didn't talk to them, and then of course that rule goes out the window. But you know, we spent an enormous amount of time together growing up, and you see it on the Hour magazine show. She's literally finishing my sentence. It's almost like twins.
Yeah.
But my mother was the same way. So you know, we've had some people question what we're doing, you know, on the air here sometimes, giving things away or auctioning things off, and I know for a fact that this is what my mother would like. She would like to encourage people to collect. She would encourage people to preserve history or their own experience. And what she would mean by that is, like, you have your own personal experience about a movie or a star or something. So you choose that star and then you collect their stuff, and that becomes your personal collection. And then, you know, is that hoarding if you try to have everything that a certain star did? No, I think it's just trying to tell a story or try to preserve your history with that person or with that movie. So that's the motive of collecting. And if you want, I don't think you can really call it hoarding. For example, if I could I do hoard my mother's stuff.
You are a high-end hoarder.
But I hoard things for high-end purposes.
But the good news is that we aren't at tunnels yet. Because hoarders, you know, when you watch, what's that show? Hoarder.
Oh, with
Hoarders.
the house, yeah.
Yes, when you watch Hoarders and you're going through tunnels of stuff. We're not there.
Yeah, now that is a different type of a thing, because they're just buying everything.
Right.
Also,
that's why I say you're a high-end hoarder.
Well, so David Copperfield, you know, he's a big collector, as we are, and he said to me one time, you know, you got to stay in your lane. And I thought about that for a minute, and unfortunately, I'm not allowed to just stay in my lane, because my mother started things that I have to finish, and Carrie started things that I have to finish, and then there's your career, and so you know, if it was just my lane, I'd probably stay with the cameras and the lenses and certain things that turn me on. I wouldn't collect costumes and shoes, women's shoes. I mean, really, you know, have you ever seen me put on a pair of women's shoes?
I have not.
There you have it.
But I saw Seth in the collection.
No woman has a foot that big.
Ann Miller and I share the same foot size. That's
Esther Williams, I bet, too.
I'll put on
Wait
the
a minute,
bathing suit.
Ann Miller has a large, how
big feet.
No, Ann Miller had size 9s.
But so did Esther. I
That's
think.
not a big, that's not big.
Well, for a woman, that's a large. In those days,
big.
that's a
I'm
larger
an 8.5.
foot.
Oh,
but
my
in
gosh.
those days, that's a large
Yeah.
foot.
Terrible. I had no idea.
She might have been a 10, actually. I don't know. I think
so.
Though, 9
But
and a half.
Esther's feet are very large as well. That's why she could move so fast on the wall.
I don't want to say anything,
like
but the
flippers.
shoes are part of the favorite part of my
No,
collection.
I mean,
love the wall of shoes we have. You know, we had a party this past week, and we had
for the National
National
people.
Broadcasting
and
people.
all the guys from
And-
AFI, the American
yeah,
Film, not AFI,
for ASC.
American Society of Cinematographers.
And so all the cinematographers were here, and you know, everyone was just blown away by the museum, and I love that, because it makes me happy when people walk in, and if they get tears in their eyes, which often happens because they're seeing stuff that really just it's an emotional reaction to a physical thing. It's really quite amazing, and in my business, that's called emotional anchor, because you remember seeing it in a movie, and now you're standing there looking at it, and you get that same kind of, you know, really wow feeling that you had 20, 30
well, it's
years
nice
ago.
when people that really understand the business in different categories see and appreciate what's been preserved and why. And the people that were here were people from this organization. A bunch of cinematographer people were here for the National Broadcasting Convention, and my friend Roy Wagner was here, and we were showing people what we had preserved. You know, and a lot of them are just blown away, not only at the cameras, but just at the scope.
Everything,
The
yeah.
fact that we're not in one lane.
Right.
You know, like the costume over my shoulder of my mom's, you know, just the droids, the weapons, the cameras, the lenses, the costumes, the shoes, the
I
photography.
wish the public could see it because, you know, I mean, there's something so wonderful about experiencing people having an experience.
Well, I
when they're
used to
looking
love
at
to
it.
watch people's reaction to going through the museum. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was the whole point.
Yep,
You
yep.
remember your reaction when you were at the Paley Center and they were lined up around the block? You were like, there it is. She's been vindicated.
Oh, absolutely. They were lined around the block for hours to get in to take a look at the stuff. We took over the entire Paley Center.
Right, but
That's a
we
big
also
building.
took over the entire
City of Beverly Hills.
Right, Beverly
but,
Drive.
But, you know, it was, you know, amazing to see because so many people said no one cares about that to your mother.
Right, well, that was...
And to see people come not just from down the street, from all over the world, because I interviewed a lot of those people.
Right, we've run those interviews.
And they were from all
And
over the world.
speaking of that,
Yes.
Patreon is where the unedited interviews will be and all the unedited auction footage will be.
Yep.
So if you didn't get a chance to go to those auctions, we
Yep.
filmed all the auctions. We interviewed my mother and other people, and Kat was there, and the
Yep.
parties. All of that footage is going to be some of the stuff
I
that
love
gets
the
put
behind
up.
the
Time, We'll
scenes.
spread it out throughout time, and it'll
No,
be
instantly everything is going to be
instantly
available.
everything. The
It's-
whole,
it's-
Okay,
and
Ryan
you'll have
is
a
back.
virtual version of us self-guiding you on that tour.
Okay, Todd, you have to sign 3 things, and then we are doing the wheel
Signing
and
it
giving
on
stuff
air, you
away.
mean?
Then I'm going to go put the chickens away.
What does
you
that
know
have
the-
to do with the giveaways?
Well, because I'm just saying,
We're not
after
giving
the
a
show is
chicken away, are
over,
we?
my job is
Well, who
not
got
done.
this?
I
So
still have to
that
feed the
is
chickens.
going to be, I will give you the name right now.
There's a person?
There's a person.
So
They're
who,
on
who,
the line.
who gets this and why?
Well, because she paid for it.
Well, that's a
But
damn good reason.
She, Linda Weger, who you've met.
Linda, yeah.
And she,
Linda,
just
is-
your signature
Linda,
is
if
all
you
she would
So
recall,
Linda?
No, just your signature.
Just the signature.
Linda is the one that got the tickets for Donny Osmond when you all went that night when I was out of town.
Okay, well here, since she just wants the signature, which is actually smart from a collecting standpoint, close up, please. Up, right there. I just signed it big. That's a little bigger than I normally do, but because it's for that purpose.
Yes.
This is not a good pen for this in certain ways. It's not the thick one, so it's a little thin, but it was good because I made it big. Okay?
Well, I'll switch it.
Well, the blue one we had too. Where's the blue
These are
one?
going to be markered, though.
Okay, markers are good.
So those top 2 postcards and the sticker inside Carrie's books are going to get signed.
Okay. So,
And-
all right, so somebody got these books.
Yes, so the postcard will be signed on that bundle.
Okay, so I'll show that.
Yeah. And
There you
then
go.
So that one
And the postcard too?
is going to be to
What
Barb.
am I signing? What?
To Barb for Barb Kevern.
What?
The postcard, the,
The
top
postcards.
postcard.
Now, the front of the postcard, because there's not a hell of a lot of room to put all
Not
that
only
on.
that,
Wherever
make
you'd like
sure
to
that the
sign it.
pen is compatible with
trash
the
the-
material.
I'm going to trash it if I do
Well,
it.
maybe the back.
Let's do the back.
Yeah, because the
Well, the back
front-
is Carrie's picture.
Oh,
But they're on everyone, those backs. They're on all the backs of all the
The same?
postcards. The same.
Oh, well, then we'll do in the back. Okay, so to Barb, right?
To
B-A-
Barb. That's Barb Kevern.
Barb
B-A-R-B.
Kevern. Okay, I was just, something popped into my mind, and then out it went, and it went down to the strip for dinner, so I have no idea what
It'll
that
be back
thought was.
tonight.
Will it come back sooner or later?
All right,
Oh,
so there-
Jeff,
there's Barb's.
there you go. Barb Kevern, that's for you.
Okay,
And
and I
then
put
the
it on
other
the front. I
bundle.
put it on the front one. So there's that one. Okay, now what's the other one?
And then the other book, if your signature, and then the postcard set will be signed to a popular name, Elizabeth.
There you go.
It's not the Elizabeth, is it?
Not well. That would be quite. We would have a big show.
All right, so there's her book signed.
All right, and who's that for?
That is going to be for Elizabeth,
Okay, so but I'm signing the back
Elizabeth.
of this.
not as in Taylor.
Okay,
John Eric, hello there, my friend.
Elizabet. Let's
Let me
make sure.
double check, and I will let you know.
Jama Taylor went to see Donny Osmond's show, and she said it's amazing, and it is.
E So Elizabeth spelled like Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, it's Elizabeth Gandy. I spent a weekend with Elizabeth at the Knight Rider convention in Georgia, and we got to know each other there. You still have your doggies, Elizabeth. I love them. Okay, there's your
And I
postcard.
took most of these pictures also, not all, but most.
Yes.
So the pictures that are in this bundle, I took, so they come with that. All right, there's your 2.
All right, and now we'll go on to our.
All right, now we're going to give stuff away. This is one of the best parts of the night, of course. So Kyle, go ahead and pull up the wheel, and we will get started. I'm super excited. The first wheel, of course, will have, is it 6 winners? 6 winners. And everyone that's in the room, if you have commented and your name came up, then you are put on the wheel automatically, so you don't have to do anything. That's going to be the first wheel. The second wheel is going to be one prize, and it's for people who donated. It's a super prize for people who donated last week in the chat. When you donate, then you get a space on the wheel. If you donate again, you get another space on the wheel. And then the third wheel is going to be for all the people who have donated by buying a ticket to my show, that they're donating to someone who can go since they can't. And so that's the third wheel, and we will have 2 prizes off of that. So let's go. Kyle, do you have the wheel up? Let's see. I don't see it. Let me see if Ryan's trying to tell me something here. Okay.
We're ready. Todd just needs to put it up on the
Oh,
screen.
God. Got it. Okay. All right. Very good then. There is the wheel right there. And it looks like the first winner has already been chosen, and that is Jamie Nye. Jamie Nye, congratulations. You have won it's hard to see in this light, but you have won the Rich Lip Gloss, which is what I actually have on tonight. Someone asked me what lip color I was wearing, and it is Rich Lip Gloss from Cat Cosmetics, my company, so donated by catcosmetics.com. And we will send this out to you, Jamie Nye. Thank you so much for being here, beautiful girl. And then okay, let's do this. The second winner is, here goes the wheel. If you want to cut to the wheel, there you go. And Jennifer Klatt. Jennifer Klatt, you have won from Cat Cosmetics also, the Miracle Working Clarifying Serum. It's amazing. If you have never used this, you are going to love it. So after you wash your face, you put a few pumps of this on, and then you can wear your moisturizer over it. This makes your skin so soft and beautiful. So Jennifer Klatt, congratulations. Now the third winner is coming up right now, and it is, okay, the Elizabeth Medron. Elizabeth Medron. Elizabeth, you have won the Miracle Working Muscle Gel. I don't even have to, I have to tell you, if you have an ache or a pain or arthritis anywhere or anything, you are going to love this. This is the most effective muscle gel ever. You can't buy anything like it on the market. It works almost immediately, and it lasts. So this is an amazing product. Elizabeth Madron, just put it on whatever is aching. I put it on my feet after I get done doing shows because my feet always ache from wearing heels. I put it on my neck, my back. It's amazing. So please, everyone that wins tonight, on all categories, if you could please write at catandtoddlive@gmail.com and give us your addresses, because I'm going to need that to get these out. So thank you so much for that. The next winner is, and Kat McGowan. Kat McGowan. Here we go. Now, what is it? You did? I don't know if Kat. I don't know if. Oh, that's a great gift. Yeah.
I produced and starred in with Carrie, my mother and sister. Very much on topic with tonight.
Yep.
It can be gotten, I think, on Amazon, possible. Anyway, we're giving this away to Kat.
Bright Lights to Kat McGowan. There you go. Kat, I'm so excited that you won, and there you have it. This is such a good movie. It's a documentary, but I call it a movie. It's an incredible documentary. Congratulations. Okay, we're going to move on to the next. And remember tonight, if you have donated, your name will be featured on the crawl tonight at the end of the show. Here, I'm going to let you do that. Debbie Starr Jackson. Debbie Starr Jackson, you have won. Tell her what she's won.
The Eddie Fisher CD.
The Eddie Fisher CD.
Because it has Anytime, and it has a medley of his hits, and it has an Al Jolson tribute, and I'll Never Sing Another Song. Anyway, this is a 1993 release of some of his material at the time. It's pretty fun to have, and you just have to load that in.
Todd's mic is off. We can't hear him.
Oh, no.
It's because I went into the bathroom and I didn't want to hear, thought you'd hear me peeing.
Yeah,
so I
we
turned
don't.
off the
We
mic.
could do without that.
What I said is it's Eddie's CD from 1993, and it's got
and it's Debbie
Falling in
Starr
Love
Jackson
with You,
that won
etc.
it.
And it's a really fun group of songs that you don't normally hear. Like
Yeah.
normally his hits are kind of more prevalent. So these are other songs of him doing this. I believe this is live too. And there you go. So that's hers.
Fantastic. Okay. And are we done with that wheel? We have one more. One more wiener, and it is as the wheel turns. Okay. All right. And it is Latex Styles. Latex! Hello, beautiful. I have studio stills for you. This is...
One is an upside down.
Sorry.
Debbie, and
This
the other
one...
is a right side up.
That's
Debbie.
right. This is a bathing suit she wore by Rosemary Reed, who was the designer of that. And so it's got this... They are studio prints because they're both numbered on the back. So this is when she was a young Debbie and starting out, it looks like. Also, you have won these really awesome postcards. We have Betty Davis here. We have Bogey here.
Now,
we
this is
have
just for-
oh,
this is
whatever
just a
happened to Baby
regular-
Jane, one of my favorites.
But this is
personal
just a
favorites.
regular.
Blanche.
This is just a regular wheel giveaway.
Yes.
Because this
Yeah.
is about $100 worth of stuff.
You aren't ever getting out of here either.
I know, but I'm telling you, like the one that's stamped
James
there, that's
Dean.
$40, $50 on its own. I'm just making her aware.
Yeah.
Give me those
They're
big
good
pictures. for one
collectibles.
second. Hold
All right.
on to that.
Okay, hold on. There
The
we go.
postcards are one thing, but when you have the studio prints that have the studio printing on the back, this is not a copy of a studio print. These are actual studio prints. They're worth $40 or $50 each. So you guys just put about $100 giveaway together
All
there
right,
for her.
so
So
see?
she's very fortunate.
All right. So we're
And
moving
Seth
on
is-
to the
and-
next
and
wheel.
Seth is fired.
We're moving on to the next wheel.
No, I'm
This
kidding.
wheel is smaller. I mean, less names is what I mean. This is, we're going to choose a winner for this. These are for the people that gave donations on the chat here last week. If you donated tonight, you will be on next week's Super Wheel. And here we go. And spin that wheel, Kyle. Ryan and Kyle, I get to see you in just it's just
I can't do
basically Sunday, Monday. I'm going to see you in 3 days. Do you know how happy I am? Elizabeth Gandy, this is your night. This is your night. Yes, it is. So what has Elizabeth Gandy won?
She has won.
Yeah.
The most important one is this. Now this
Oh,
is,
wow.
this
That's
is-
an original photo.
Yes, this is an
It's not a
original.
copy.
This is a really original hand print.
Look
You
at
see
the
how it's
difference.
curved?
Yeah, in
But this actually has right down here stamped into it. It's hard for me to see it. Is John Inglestead, who this is an embossed stamp into this photo. This is an original print made by him by hand. So this is a vintage print from the 1960s of Carrie, and it's got the name of the photographer stamped into it. So this is highly collectible.
Tell me the name of that photographer again.
John
Yeah.
Inglestead. And it's
Is that I or
it's
E?
E with an E.
Yep.
Sted. Inglestead.
Engel?
ENG I can't read it. It's hard to read.
Okay.
E-N-G stead. E-N-G-S-T-E-A-D.
That's okay. I'm just
Anyway, you look it up. You'll have fun.
I am.
playing
You
with
know,
that.
I'm big on
But these
Google.
are. There's a series of photographs that were taken of Carrie and I when we were young, and this is a very, very rare print. So that's a good thing to have. I mean, that's a very collectible item.
Yes.
Right?
All right. So Elizabeth Gandy, congratulations.
More
wait,
to it
there's
than that.
you get more than
You
that.
also get one of the Carrie envelopes and stamps by the United States Postal
That
Service.
is a collectible from 2007.
And it's the first day of issue. It's an envelope and the original stamp of Carrie's. And you get a little 5x7 photograph of Carrie being the mad princess. And then you get a little headshot that she used to hand out. Now this has a signature on it, but it's a facsimile, so it's the print of the signature, dated 1999. So that's a cool picture of her. But that's not an original signature, but it's a copy of. But you could put it all together, and it makes a nice collection.
There you go. All right. So we are now going on to the third wheel of the night. I love the wheel. I love
So they're gonna
contests.
so this is the same for the next two.
Yes.
The same
Okay, so we are going to
for the
choose two
reason.
winners from the wheel. And so here we go. Kyle, spin it, baby. I'm so excited to see who wins this.
This is for the folks who donated.
This is for all of you who donated by buying a ticket to my show, that you donated so that someone can go see it. And, oh, wow, Cynthia Gonzalez, congratulations. You're the first winner. We have two winners. What you have won is, this is a little picture of Debbie, and she autographed this. So that's
original.
That's an original autograph right there. And the part two of that is...
All 15, right?
Yep, is the postcards, the entire collection. I think there's 16.
15, I believe.
15 envelopes of all the Star Wars characters, highly
This
collectible.
is several $100s in value.
Oh, for sure. Hold on. There's 17, I think, yeah.
17 of them.
And the reason they're so collectible is because no one has, we are the only people that have for availability all of the envelopes. You might find a onesie or a twosie on eBay, but you are not going to find all of them unless they got them from us. So this is the entire collection, and what we did was we shadow boxed them all, and they're just beautiful. So all of the Star Wars characters, and they have matching stamps. That's upside down. Yes, but it's all of them. You are going to love this.
Now,
So
these
there
are
you
available
go.
on the website for how much?
These are available on the website for, I believe, one. I don't want to.
Okay, if you don't know the answer,
I thought it was
here's how you handle that.
I thought it would. Let
you
me
say,
look.
I don't know, Todd.
But I'll get
Ryan, do you know how much
Well,
they
I
go
have
for?
to if I search my mental vocabulary, it comes to me on occasion.
Yes.
But off the top of your head, you can't
But
be
Ryan
sure, and we
might
don't want
know
to say
that.
the wrong
Hundreds.
thing.
Yeah,
So we
it's-
don't say anything when we can't say the right thing. Is that the next winner?
I'm pulling it up.
All
Is that
right.
the next winner?
Yep.
So I
Okay,
sh-
so Ryan's pulling that up, and while
but that's
we
your
are,
next winner?
that is the next and last winner of the evening,
And
and
this
that's
is for the ticket people that bought tickets to your show.
yes, these
for
are
the
the
charitable event.
the donated tickets to the
Yeah,
show. Leslian Quantico, you are the second winner. Now, everyone who won tonight, remember to write us at Cat and Todd
And she
Live
wins
at
the
Gmail.
same thing, though, right?
And you have won also the collection of envelopes and the picture of Debbie signed. So you and Elizabeth Gandy have both won the same thing. And I'm going to need your address, so you have to write us at catandtoddlive@gmail.com. And thank you, everyone, for your donations. Thank you so much, because you know what? You know, you can't change the world, but you can make a ripple. And that's what I love about, anything that helps. And these people that are going to be able to come see the show because of your ticket donation, and that money also goes to the Four Diamonds. So we want to thank you so much for that. And for all of you who donated tonight in the chat room, that is really great, because it goes towards the production of this show, also the legacy projects, which right now we've got a few going. So this is really helpful for us, because it's super expensive to get things restored. So thank you for caring, and we're so
And
happy.
The envelopes are $299 as a full set on the store. And they're $25 a piece per envelope. And we also have sales all the time, so be sure to sign up for the email blast on there where you'll get notifications for the sales. And you also get a discount if you sign up for the emails, I believe. So, well, actually, no.
Well, not only that, right now there is
No,
a
there's
sale.
not right
There
now.
we are having a no.
No, not right now.
Are you sure?
Canceled.
I promise.
Oh,
It just
okay.
ended.
Oh, it did. Okay.
May the 4th is coming up.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have,
Yes,
mind.
so
we're gonna have a
keep
big
that
May
in
the 4th
mind.
show, and we're gonna put up a lot of stuff.
However, speaking of sales, we have a 30% off Easter sale right now at catcosmetics.com.
That's right. Over at my company, catcosmetics.com, catcosmetics.com. We have new stuff. We have the greatest stuff. We have the best skincare and makeup in the world, and at 30% off. It's incredible. If you spend $50 or more, you get free shipping and a free kimono top, and summer is coming. In fact, it's already here in Las Vegas.
I'm
So it's
87.
Huh?
I'm 87.
You're 87?
And I use Cat Cosmetics.
You look good.
Well, Cat Cosmetics.
I've been using it for 24 years. It's all I use. So anyway, come in and join us at catcosmetics.com. We're having our Easter sale early because Ryan and Kyle are coming in, and I don't want to be all busy with that when they're here because we have a lot to do. We are cooking up some good stuff for you guys. Anyway, we love you on behalf of Ryan and Kyle and myself and Seth and Todd and Buck. We just love you and thank you. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday night with us. We couldn't be happier. So we will see you next week for sure. I will be on tomorrow at 2 o'clock on this very page that we're on right now. Actually, this is YouTube. I'll be on my Facebook page tomorrow, my
You're on
personal
Facebook
one.
also.
Yeah, but I'll be doing my Cat Solo Live tomorrow at 2 o'clock. If you're hanging around and you want to have fun, that's where I'll be. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you stick around and see your name on the crawl right after the commercial. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Catherine Hicklin. Some of you may know me best from One Life to Live, but I also own catcosmetics.com. Only the best cosmetics in the world. I use the Miracle Working Kit on a mother and daughter. It's easy to use, works for all skin types, and comes with a how-to DVD. So if you want to look 10 years younger in less than 5 minutes, or you just want to look more beautiful than you've ever been in your life, come on over to catcosmetics.com and make sure you sign up for special discounts, new products, and inspirations.
We have to put, I keep forgetting to put the Reynolds wrap on this.
I think it's too short.
Oh, yeah?
It's too short, but I can find something more up to it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do a lighting test.
Tammy's in love. Does my lover feel what I feel when he comes near? My heart beats so joyfully. You'd think that he could hear. Wish I knew if he knew what I'm dreaming of. Tammy, Tammy, Tammy.